This is Valley News Live at 10.
And good evening. Take a look at this footage threatening cloud formations near Amenia earlier tonight. The video captured by our storm chaser, Eric Whitehill.
Our first alert weather day certainly delivered in several areas. Let's go straight to Nathan for details. Nathan.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. Happy Friday, everybody. That first alert weather day for sure delivered in rainfall amounts, in severe weather, a couple tornado warnings, one reported tornado actually reaching all the way to the ground. And also, of course, as I said, some gusty winds as well. Look at this. This is from our Fergus Falls area. This was shared to us by John. Shared just under 2 inches of measured rainfall there in his rain gauge. And then in the New Rockford area, this was from 3:24 this afternoon. Now, more rain did fall after that measurement was taken in the New Rockford area, but Andrew shared 1.5 inches of rainfall in that rain gauge. So there's the widespread 1 to 2 or 3 inches or so of radar estimated precipitation. Let's take a closer look, though, into some of these spots where we have seen some higher estimates. Again, these are radar estimates, but near the Plummer area, radar estimated 6.2 inches of rain fell in that area. Then down toward Fargo, an estimated 1.5 inches or so right there around the tri-levels where I queried that little box there. But off towards Stutsman County and Barnes County, seeing rainfall estimates of around 4 inches, and also near the Medina area saw about 4 inches of radar estimated rainfall as well. So some much needed, some much appreciated rainfall, though it did come with some intense storms at times this afternoon. So these storms are now exiting off toward the east. This is the line of storms that we were most concerned about for bringing potentially additional severe weather to our neck of the woods tonight. Good news is that's now out toward the east, and the severe thunderstorm watch that expired at 10 p.m. so things are looking quiet for us for tonight. But a high wind warning has been raised for the Devil's Lake Basin. That's until 1 a.m. We have seen a couple of wind reports of 60 miles per hour or greater as this low pressure system is making its way in, seeing that northwest wind now wrapping around this system. So of course watching that very carefully. And there's the low pressure. You can see that little counterclockwise spin now bringing some rainfall in the Devil's Lake Basin. Do expect Stacy and Tom some additional rainfall in the Devil's Lake area tonight, but good news is our severe weather threat looks to be done for tonight.
You have been busy.
It's been quite the day.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah.
Another teenager is charged with the robbery turned murder of a Moorhead taxi driver. 18-year-old Christy Vo of Fargo was just 17 at the time of the incident back in May, but turned 18 in July. A petition to move her case to adult court was granted today. She faces a number of charges in the death of 24-year-old Abduli Mohammed Abduli. Court documents say she and an 18-year-old she lived with, Willie Sparkman Jr., were trying to rob the driver for rent money after 2 other attempted armed robberies that night. She'll be back in court on Monday.
A Waban man is accused of hitting 2 people with his car, then driving away. Justin Ritchie is being held on a number of charges in Becker County Jail. Authorities say his vehicle hit 2 people who were working on a stalled vehicle on County Highway 34 near Maple Grove Township. Both victims were airlifted to a Fargo hospital. No word on their conditions.
Guilty of 4 counts of murder. That is the verdict handed down in the quadruple murder trial out in Mandan that we've been following for weeks. The state argued that Chad Isaac entered RJR Maintenance and Management and brutally stabbed and shot 4 employees. Many have been waiting more than 2 years for a resolution, especially the families and co-workers of the victims. Today, surrounded by family and friends and pictures of those they've lost, the RJR team gathered for the first time following the verdict.
The pain we feel didn't start with this trial, nor will it end with it. The verdict in the courtroom cannot break the loved ones missing in our lives.
Now, as the company tries to look forward, employees can't help but look back and wonder why the events of April 1st happened. Even after the trial, a motive still is not clear.
More evacuations tonight in northeastern Minnesota. U.S. Forest Service officials say there is zero containment of the Greenwood wildfire. That fire has grown to more than 7 square miles since lightning ignited it last weekend. The wildfire has now jumped a highway, and the concern is a cold front expected tomorrow, something Incident Commander Brian Pisarek says is keeping him up at night. He says the front is expected to bring strong winds from the northwest, which could push that fire aggressively to the east toward homes.
I think the people in the school board mean well. I don't think that they're bad people, but it just feels like they are not making the decision that's best for the children, and that is their number one job.
Parents speaking out tonight after the Grand Forks School Board changed their mind this afternoon and voted to require masks for the upcoming school year. They voted no just earlier this week. One board member says she has received threats from parents. Another said she received threats of, quote, planned riots on the first day of school next week.
The threats that we've been getting for rioting and showing up at doors of school. And if there's any attempt to disrupt that, that is something that I'm going to speak out against and that I will have a conversation of the district about.
The board is now saying lunch and recess will provide a time for students to take mask breaks during the day.
Well, it's something many people are experiencing after recovering from COVID. Flavors and foods they loved before are replaced with an unbearable taste and smell. Reporter Mariel Mose shares one woman's story about dealing with this interesting side effect.
Sitting outside her St. Louis Park home is the best way for Nikki Seppelt to enjoy a meal with her husband these days.
My grapes are good.
The two of them have drastically different food preferences ever since Nikki contracted COVID-19 in July 2020. A few months after recovering, something changed.
Things took a turn and things really started tasting and smelling really off and really foul, rotten.
Nikki developed parosmia, a long-term and common side effect of COVID-19.
If you were eating a salad right now, I would not be able to sit here.
Ear, nose, and throat physician Dr. Holly Boyer says around 80% of COVID patients experience smell and taste aversions like parosmia when sensory cells are damaged during COVID.
As those cells regenerate, they can sort of link up in the wrong way to the nerves that they're supporting, and that can distort your sense of smell.
Dr. Boyer says parosmia cases recover within 2 to 6 months. In rare cases, though, it can take up to 2 years. To speed up this recovery process, Dr. Boyer has patients go through smell retraining therapy.
You can actually buy essential oils that represent those smells, or you can use your household items and repeatedly smell those things and tell your brain, this should smell like a rose, or this should smell like an orange or a lemon.
Nikki has already had parosmia symptoms for the last 8 months. As she waits this recovery out, she tries new foods all the time to see what works.
Most days I can eat applesauce.
Her husband keeps the food she once loved in this separate cupboard so Nikki doesn't have to even smell them.
Peanut butter is unfortunately a no. All of our pasta, salsas, crackers. I never go in this pantry.
This entire experience taught her to never take for granted the gift of smell and taste.
You don't realize how valuable your senses are until they're gone.
In St. Louis Park, Mariel Mose, WCCO 4 News.
Now, Nikki joined several Facebook groups with thousands of others around the country experiencing the exact same problem.
Still ahead tonight, how and why Hershey sent 40,000 candy bars to people living in a small Minnesota town.
And I'm working on getting a photo. That's not a photo I'm working on, but I'm working on getting a photo for you that a viewer has sent in. But of course, we'll take a look at this photo. Again, an intense photo there from the Arthur and Hunter areas. That was a tornado-warned storm, but we'll have your full weekend forecast after the break.